how to polish your paint and apply an 8-year ceramic coating.
I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. The FIAT is back. We've washed it, we've clayed it. You'll see it in the video up here. Now, other than that, this has been through a lot of car washes since the last time we put a coating on it. Where the coating is, it's looking good. Where the coating wasn't, not so good. So we're actually gonna do a 2-stage cutting and polishing. Now, do we need to go that in depth? Probably not. But are we going to? Yes. The reason for doing that is actually it saves time. And there's 2 of us. So I'm gonna go with the wool pad and get rid of the defects rather quickly. And then Nick's gonna come and shine it up with the Rotary with our gold standard pad.
Yeah, you have the gold standard polish you're gonna use as well as me. But you have a dual action polisher and I have a Rotary.
Right.
Ivan famously likes to cut with a dual action, finish with a Rotary, and I enjoy it as well.
Exactly. The Rotary is just calmer, nicer, and you actually get a little more gloss from it.
You do. It's a really smooth movement, and I've talked to a bunch of experts in the industry, and they all agree with you. So my skeptical mind was like, I can only finish with a DA. I'm in your camp now. I mean, the gloss is real.
Right, the gloss is real, and swirls with the proper technique don't exist. So off we go. Like I say, it's washed, it's clayed, it's ready to polish. The first thing we need to do is prime our pads. Now, unlike a lot of companies that say prime the pad, they mean put a lot of polish on it and spread it around. That's not how we do it.
So that you will buy more product when you run out.
Right.
This will last you forever with Ivan's method.
And we're using the pad washer just to get the pad damp. It's not getting the pad wet, it's just getting it damp and it's clean. It glides easier on the paint. It runs cooler, therefore less potential damage to the paint, and reduces dusting and all that fun stuff. Now, another thing that we do differently than anybody else, trigger sprayer. Nick is wasting product again. Anyways.
I love that.
So, trigger sprayer. And one of the big reasons we use the trigger sprayer, and this bears showing. Most companies will tell you put 3 to 4 drops on your pad, right? Well, if I go slowly with the trigger sprayer, I'm actually going to get a drop out of it. So that is a full pull of the trigger. That's all the polish we're putting on this pad.
But you literally saw when I sprayed out like those thousands of droplets.
Right.
If you do this the right way, you can actually spread those all out on the pad.
Right. And you're using so much less product. The product is going to do exactly what you want it to do and how you want it to work, but you're not gonna have sling. You're not gonna need to cover up anything, and you're not gonna be wasting product.
The polish is safe on trim and it smells amazing. Don't underestimate a good smelling product, especially when you're buffing paint, polishing paint. I love the smell of this stuff.
Banana cream pie.
Oh, banana cream pie, I like that.
Well, bananas, but yeah, it smells like banana, smells like banana cream pie. I haven't tasted it, and I don't suggest you do that either. So, let's start by washing our pads.
While the pad is still moving at the end, a nice firm trigger pull.
Right.
And there it goes all over the pad.
Yeah, so you can see on the purple pad here, we can actually see that it got everywhere. It's doing its thing. We have a nice even coverage. We've got a damp pad. We're ready to polish. Now I'm using the DA 21 millimeter because the DA actually cuts better than a Rotary. I know it's not what everybody thinks, but test it for yourself. You'll find out. And I'm gonna be doing the cutting stage. Nick is gonna follow with the polishing stage. On the hood of the FIAT, we have paint protection film, we have paint, and on this side, we have coating on both the paint protection film and the paint. People will ask, how do we know that we're getting all the coating off? We actually don't have to get all the coating off. So our coating, be it the one we put on here, our original coating, and our new 3, 5, and 8-year coatings, first of all, they're compatible with each other. Secondly, they actually don't sit on top of the paint, they actually go into the paint. So if we wanted to remove the coating, we'd have to remove a lot of paint. What we're doing instead is we're abrading the coating with the polish, even though to our eyes we've made it super shiny. In reality, to the coating, it's abraded, and it's going to accept the new coating without a problem. So you don't have to worry about getting all that old coating off. You just need to make sure your surface is clean, level, and as glossy as you want it to be, and then go from there.
And honestly, I did put a spray of gold standard on here, but because he's already applied it to the surface, if I just had a damp pad, I could just go ahead and start polishing this, and I'd probably be okay.
You'd be okay, but it's best to just put that one spray on. You don't need a lot. And yes, since we're on camera, it's putting the cord over the shoulder. No.
It's just to emphasize that this is a pad-dependent polish, right?
Exactly.
So you could just swap pads with your same machine if you wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of versatility around using this one product for every buffing, polishing cycle.
Exactly. So off Nick goes. I'm gonna clean my pad and keep working. Nick?
Yeah.
You know me, I'm always testing stuff, right?
Yes.
Test this.
Wait, what is this guy?
This is a dedicated rotary finishing pad that I'm designing and been playing around with. So
okay.
Give it a try, see what your impressions are, and if you like it, you may find it on the DIY store eventually.
All right, we're gonna reveal the secret here. I knew about this pad. I was playing dumb, but I'm really excited. I haven't used it yet.
No, you haven't tried it.
I know you've been testing this in a lot of videos. You're always up to something. So let me clean it off real quick and.
So what do you think?
It's amazing. So first impressions, genuinely, I've never tried this yet. It's so forgiving. So when you have the yellow waffle pad with the rotary, you've constantly told me, make sure that you can see the full circles of your pad rotation, right?
Make sure it's flat.
It'll tell you that you're going flat.
Yeah.
But this has so much give to it that it's a more forgiving, like all my circles feel very, very, like I just feel like I'm doing a good job and I'm having to try a little bit less hard.
Right.
It feels like it's meant for the rotary.
It is. That's what I've designed it for.
Yeah.
So the thickness, the depth of the waffle, everything is optimized for the rotary.
Like dummy simple, anybody could do this.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Now, can you use it on a DA? Yes. But the foam is so soft that on a soft paint, you're actually going to potentially induce micro marring because of the softness of the pad. So if you're finishing with your dual action, stick with the gold standard gold pad. But if you want to finish with a rotary, this is your friend.
So would you say once this is out there to the public that no need to use gold standard waffle with a rotary?
No.
So just leave that to the dual action.
Right. Now, if you want more cut, because this pad has almost zero cut, it is better termed a jeweling pad. So we want to get that jeweling. We want to get that ultimate in gloss. That's what this pad is doing for us.
It's going to be a little bit less of a correct and shine in one, which is what the old waffle is so good at.
Yeah, exactly.
Moderate defect removal, great shine. This is going to be higher on the shine.
Oh yeah,
not in the defect removal category.
Defect removal, almost a zero. Shine, turn the amp up to 11. So yeah, off you go.
Sweet.
So what do you think of the pad on the curvaceous FIAT fender?
It's a little different on the vertical panel.
Yeah.
So whereas it is just like buttery smooth and easy to use on horizontal, it took a little bit more finesse on a vertical.
Right.
It has so much give that it'll kind of go anywhere. So with that, I'm just trying to remember, no pressure.
The less you hold on to the machine, the easier it is.
So this foam pad, this rotary jeweling pad is amazing. I feel so safe around trim and emblems. It's just so fat and forgiving. Check this out. I can angle my machine and not feel like I'm gonna hit the backing plate into anything. If I go into this trim, not only is our gold standard polish safe on trim, but I can almost lean it in there and feel like I'm not gonna knock into plastic and ruin something. It is just fantastic. Very forgiving, very easy to use. Once you try it, you'll see what I'm saying. It's just very, very user-friendly around tight spots and emblems where you might otherwise have needed like a 1-inch polisher. This you feel safe, even with a big machine, to get those tight spots. And real quick, as far as polish removal technique, I've got one towel here, dampen with rinseless wash, the other's dry. So I hit it with the rinseless wash towel first, then I buff it dry. Super easy polish removal.
Right, and the reason we're doing the 2 towels, the damp towel is giving us even more lubrication with the rinseless wash to be able to wipe off the polish with less effort. If you're using a dry towel, you actually have to press down on that polish to get it off. You have to work a little bit.
And you're introducing possible scratch risk after you just babied the paint.
Yeah, and if you're using a high nap towel, all you're doing is moving the polish around. You're actually not lifting it off the surface. So the low nap towel has its place. Have you subscribed? Have you hit the notification bell? Did you give us a thumbs up? Do you have any questions? Leave them below. Nick, continue polishing.
Ivan, I think this is the glossiest I've ever seen the FIAT.
It is. You know, the gold standard polish does an amazing job. The new jeweling pad just amps it up one little touch more.
I'm in love with that pad.
Right, but we still have to put the ceramic coating on this. The fun part, the icing on the cake, the protection that we're leaving behind. So now it looks good, but if we don't protect it, it is going to get scratched up quickly, it's going to get marred, it's not going to look good, it's going to be difficult to clean. With the ceramic coating, we eliminate all of that.
There are times when you don't need panel prep. Like if you're washing your car and you have wet paint when you're done, put some ceramic gloss on your drying towel. You could panel prep the entire car, dry it, panel prep it, and then put ceramic gloss on.
Right.
Totally unnecessary. You're still going to get months of durability. But when it comes to the ceramic coating, this is where we really want you to use panel prep.
Right. Now, our polish, the gold standard, does not leave anything on the paint. There's no fillers. There's nothing. But we want to do this. And you'll notice I wasn't wearing gloves before. Now I am. There's a big reason for wearing gloves. I don't want my greasy fingers touching the paint once I've wiped it off.
Right, so I like gloves anytime just because anything touches your skin, it's essentially through the pores. And,
right,
you know,
I just forgot before. But
yeah, I tend to be more of like, I'll just wear gloves. My hands are already cracking as it is, you know?
Exactly.
But yeah, you don't want greasy fingers on the paint.
Now the panel prep, we don't do this, spray it on the car. We spray it on a towel, and opening the bottle would be better. We spray it on a towel, and we apply the panel prep using the towel, and then come back with another towel to buff it off.
So I'll just follow you.
Yep.
There's really no streaking left behind, but just to be a little redundant, because we are prepping this for the protection and we want maximum durability, we want it to adhere, and getting everything off the paint beforehand is critical.
Exactly. Now what we're going to be putting on here is an 8-year ceramic coating. Now that seems like a bold claim, but it's not. With our testing, with our knowledge of what's in the coating, it is going to last the 8 years.
Yeah, we've talked about this. So we hired a chemist, a very well-paid chemist with decades of experience.
Right.
So how do they science out the fact that this is an 8-year coating?
Well, first of all, the base materials that we have are polysiloxane, which is a very hard, durable, but yet flexible coating. Then we have SiC, which is silicon carbide. So S, little I, big C. Silicon carbide, extremely durable. It is basically an industrial diamond for all intents and purposes. Now we don't have silicon carbide particles in there. It's in liquid form. As the carrier solvents come out of the coating, it deposits the silicon carbide on the surface. So it's a chemical reaction that causes the silicon carbide. And finally, on our 3-year coating, we also have graphene. Now, why didn't we put graphene in the 5-year and 8-year? Very simple. Graphene is like a lattice work. And as the vehicle ages, as it goes through car washes, as you wash it at home, as you drive through the wind and it's wind and blow and sand, you're going to eventually break that little matrix apart. And when you break it apart, you no longer have the advantages of the graphene. So for 3 years, we know that that matrix is going to stand up unless you really abuse your vehicle. But past that, not so much. So there's no real point in putting it in a 5-year or 8-year coating. So what we've done instead is if you want the advantages of graphene, and the advantage of graphene is very simple. It gives you better water spot resistance. That's about the only big advantage of graphene in any formulation.
And the graphene coating is just super slick.
Yeah, extremely slick, but QuickBeads also has the graphene in it, and that's going to give you that water spot resistance and that slickness that you desire, and everybody should want water spot resistance. In the other coatings, in the longer durability coatings, that graphene effect is going to go away, so we have QuickBeads.
Perfect.
And this just gives us a last little quality control check to make sure we do have all the polish residue off. But using the damp towel and the dry towel method for wiping the polish residue off, we really do get the residue all off.
I know you're all about efficiency, doing it right the first time. You don't have to go back and double check it when you're done if you hit every surface and you do everything thoroughly. But before you apply an 8-year ceramic coating or a 3-year ceramic coating, before you apply a coating, use the panel prep step. It's just gonna eliminate that human variable of, did I do it the Yvan way, but maybe I messed up? That's what I think. Okay, Yvan, big question that I've wondered for a long time, and I think there's different thoughts on this. Does panel prep affect the paint such that you should give it 20 minutes to off gas before you apply the coating?
Yes and no. The yes is if you're using a body shop solvent, which actually you shouldn't be using as a panel prep, but some companies recommend it, so if it's what your coating company recommends, go for it. That being said, yes, then you need that solvent, you need to give that solvent time to off gas. We have a bit of lubrication in here, so the towel isn't gonna mar the surface. And we have a lot of isopropyl alcohol. Now there's other ingredients in here, it's just not isopropyl alcohol. That being said, as soon as the isopropyl alcohol is gone, so is everything else. So it takes 30 seconds, it's gone. So by the time you've come behind me and wiped it off, we're ready to coat.
Mr. LaCroix,
the moment of truth.
I am so excited to show people this 8-year coating.
Right.
So excited that I grabbed an extra applicator pad just for fun.
There you go. But the 8-year coating, super easy to apply. A few things you have to remember. First of all, clean, panel prepped vehicle. No grease, no oils, nothing else. If your vehicle is scratched, if your vehicle is swirled, that actually doesn't change anything for the coating. The coating is not going to fix that. But if you like the way your vehicle looks, by all means, coat it. Now, some detailers, they insist on polishing the car to perfection. That's a good thing as well. But sometimes there's not enough paint to polish. The vehicle, especially today, paint is getting thinner and thinner, as you know. So having that thin paint and then polishing it to get rid of every single scratch is not a good thing. This is 11-year-old paint. We didn't polish it to perfection. Is it glossy? Is it shiny? Heck yeah. It looks great.
This is the best I've ever seen the FIAT, and I just want to say, we have matching coating applicator pads for the FIAT.
Yeah, no, they're DIY. So these coating applicator pads, first of all, made in the USA. They're designed specifically for this application. We're not adapting something. And they glide easily over the paint. They're wonderful, they work, they're inexpensive, and they do what they're supposed to do. And yes, you can flip them over if you need to.
Like if you were to drop this on the ground and it's got this strap here, oh no, it hit the ground, boom, flip.
Yeah.
Easy. So there's a lot of foam blocks out there, or microfiber blocks out there. Why would they want our circular foam? That's what I'm going to look at and just describe it based on what it looks like.
Yeah, so ergonomics, for one, easy to hold onto. I literally don't have to hold onto it. It holds on to me. Secondly, this absorbs less coating than the microfiber. So we're transferring more from the bottle onto the paint than we are with a microfiber applicator. Lastly, it glides a lot easier. Now you may occasionally hear a little squeaky sound. That's fine, not a problem. It's just a sound that it's making. But it literally glides over the paint, smoother, easier, with less effort. And we're all about making life easy on people.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, the coating itself. We're putting our best coating on this FIAT because this is an exotic Italian 2-seat convertible sports car. Yeah. But no, we're putting our best coating on it. It deserves it. It's had a good life so far. We're going to extend its life even more. The 8-year ceramic coating. Now, 8 years, a big, bold statement. A lot of people go, how do you know it's going to last 8 years? Well, first of all, the science behind it allows us to know it's going to last 8 years. And as a professional detailer, I can make a 6-month coating last a lifetime with proper maintenance. But I can also make a lifetime coating fail in 30 minutes or less. It all depends on how you maintain it. The better you maintain your vehicle, the better you maintain your coating, the longer and the better service it's going to give you. So we say 8 years, but theoretically, maintain it well, it's going to last the lifetime of the car. But 8 years is a good, solid, easy for us to say number that with all our testing, with all our background and knowledge, it's easily going to survive 8 years.
A couple of things that I love about this coating. One, super easy to use. And by that, I mean you can essentially coat half the car at a time.
Right.
And then wiping it down is super easy.
Yes.
But the technology blows my mind. So we're talking about, like when I first started applying coatings, it was so complicated. The stuff was like peanut butter to wipe off.
Yeah.
Now we're getting an 8-year ceramic coating. You can coat half the car. We have a 7-minute flash window. What's the right terminology?
So 5 minutes is the minimum, and you can actually go a little longer. Now, if you're working outside, mobile detailers, you don't have a garage at home, whatever, you can do this outside. We, of course, do not recommend direct sunlight, but pick a shady time. You've polished, you've prepped the car all day. In the evening, just before the sun goes down, you've got a half hour of good light still, but it's not direct, it's not super hot. You can apply the coating. And from there, we apply it, we let it sit for at least 5 minutes, and then we simply wipe it dry.
If you've never applied a coating, this is crazy, because before it was like, you have to make sure you get the high spots, the little areas that if you don't, wipe off the excess, it'll leave a permanent mark in the paint.
Right.
The fact that you can let this sit for 5 minutes, you can get so much car done. You just apply the coating, which we're gonna show you how to do now, and you move on to the next panel, and you come by, short nap for the initial wipe, fluffy for this, and boom, you're done.
And you'll end up with a super slick surface. Now, it takes half an hour to an hour for it to get that super slick, and once you've gotten to that point, you can actually, if you have to, drive it in the rain. We're not saying go out in the rain. If you can avoid it, by all means, avoid it for 8 hours. But again, for a mobile detailer, you're at home, you don't have a garage, you're doing this in the driveway, you live in an apartment, you can actually coat this in the parking lot if you want to. Dust is not a concern for it, so as long as you're not grinding the coating into the dust with dust on the surface, you're fine. So if you are in a rather dusty environment, do one panel at a time. It'll take you a little longer, but you do one at a time, you'll be safe.
If you're really
prep it.
Yeah, and if you're really worried about the dust and you have an extra towel like this, you can just kind of sweep it a little bit before you go ahead and apply the coating. But you don't need to.
No, exactly.
But by that point, you're starting to look at everything with that microscopic lens, like, what is this? Can I do that? And the answer is yes.
So we'll start on the hood and work our way around. And like I said, we have to wait 5 minutes. So in that 5 minutes time, I know I can apply the coating to the whole side of the car without any issues. So what we want to do to start is get a little bit on the pad. So I'm putting roughly about 10 drops. And you can see I'm putting it on rather thick. That's because I actually put a lot of coating on the pad because I want to get that pad surface primed. I'm just going to work this in and around to get that whole pad surface primed. Once it's primed, I'm good to go. I'm going in circular motions. If you want to do straight lines, if you want to do triangles, squares, octagons, any geometric shape that fits your fancy, you can do so. One thing though that you have to be careful of is high spots. And a great way of getting high spots is actually doing straight lines. So when you're doing this back and forth, every time you stop is a potential high spot. So we can see it here on this edge. The coating is really full of high spots. If I go in a circular motion, I'm applying it evenly and getting it everywhere I need it to go. From there, the carrier solvents in the coating are going to evaporate, and that's what leaves us with this sort of oil slick on water look. Once that oil slick on water look is dissipated, 5, maybe 10 minutes, then we come back with our 2 towels and wipe. So off I go. When doing a small space like this fender, what I like to do, put a few drops on and then box it. So I know that I've hit all the edges first. Then I fill it in with a circular motion. And we just keep going around the vehicle.
So Ivan, it's been about 5 minutes.
Right?
Short nap towel.
Short nap towel, super easy to wipe off, and no pressure. And the reason we're using the short nap towel to begin is we actually don't want to wipe the coating off. We are just leveling the coating. So any high spots that remain, we're leveling them. So your towels should not get wet throughout this whole wipe off process.
A couple questions people are going to have, Ivan.
Yeah.
What happens if I wipe it off too soon?
It's going to be rubbery feeling. So you're going to have a difficulty wiping it off. So if it feels difficult or like you're moving liquid around when you're wiping it off, then give it a few more minutes.
And that's the beauty of it. It's like, no, wait longer. Like it's going to be easier to get off the longer you wait.
Right.
I don't understand the chemistry, but it's amazing.
Yeah, the chemistry, you know, it's something that the chemistry in coatings has evolved dramatically over the last 20 years. And someone that's saying, oh, well, coatings are new. No, I've been applying coatings for over 20 years now. So they're far from being new on the market. But the chemistry is getting better and better and better all the time.
Why would someone opt for the 8-year versus the 5-year, Ivan, outside of the basic math of it?
Each one of our formulas has a slightly different characteristic that we went for. So the 8-year, obviously durability beyond belief. That's what we're going for. The 5-year, we actually went for the highest amount of gloss. Now, if you put the two side by side, it actually takes a trained eye to see the difference because this is very glossy in itself. But that 5-year will give you a little more gloss. And the reason we didn't state that the 5-year is an 8-year or a 7-year or a 6-year is because you're not going to lose the protection characteristics, but eventually over time you are going to wear that gloss effect off. So with the 8-year, we've got that extra long durability. Yes, we do have exceptional gloss, but if gloss is your primary goal in a coating, then you want the 5-year. Now, if self-cleaning ability is your primary goal, then you actually want the 3-year coating. Because the graphene, with its water spot resistance, is a lot more self-cleaning. So they each have their own characteristics, they each have their own advantages. Personally, this is my car, I'm putting the 8-year on it.
That's the thing, is like you can overthink it all you want.
Right.
I want the best for my car.
Right.
Like I'll take care of the rest after, but that foundational layer.
Exactly.
Like, do you want to have a really traumatic birth, or do you want to be born into a happy family with 2 healthy parents who have money?
Yeah, exactly.
Who can put you in the nice Montessori school and feed you organic food versus like, all right, mom and dad are gone, oldest brother's raising the kids.
Yeah, so
lots of violence, lots of trauma, McDonald's every day. Like, what do you want? You want a solid foundation.
Yeah.
For the best life, give it the 8-year, baby.
Yeah, so the 8-year is your solid foundation. And then you can top it. We have ceramic gloss, which is an exceptional product. We have quick beads as well. And you can actually do both if you want to. So the coating is the foundation of your protection. It's the foundation of your gloss. Then from there, we can build on it. Now, this coating, once it's had about half an hour to cure, maybe up to an hour, depending on the humidity level and the temperature where you're at, it's going to be super slick. Yes, we said you can apply this coating outside, which you can. But there's one thing you need to be cautious of, and that is temperature. So we want a temperature between 50 and 95 Fahrenheit. So roughly between 12 and 30 degrees Celsius. If you're inside that window, great. Go ahead.
So yeah, that trick, if you have a high spot, your applicator still has product on it, just dab it on there and buff quickly.
Exactly. And basically you've got about an hour to 2 hours to do that. If for some reason you forgot a high spot somewhere and it's been a day, well, We have a video actually, don't we, Nick?
Yeah, and I'm gonna put a card up above for that.
Somewhere here. So watch this video after you're done this one. But other than that, we've polished, we've prepped, we've coated the car. It hasn't taken an enormous amount of time, and look at the results.
This coating smells more like a coating than our original one. This coating is an 8-year coating. It's the real deal. Wear some gloves, have fun, do half the car, come back. It's just like, this one is a slam dunk, and I hope people experience it, feel the slickness, and love it as much as we do.
Exactly. With that, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, we're always happy to answer.
And we would love for you to watch this right here, right now.